That's a fact. And no matter how unachievable that goal or dream might be, if you keep practicing and keep working towards it, one day you get very close.
Harder. Do it. Nobody cares. Train harder.
There's been some talk about possibly Joshua using Jake Paul as a tune-up to fight you. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't know about tune-up. I think Jake Paul knocks him out.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Jake Paul is reportedly training alongside Tyson Fury as he prepares for his showdown with Anthony Joshua. Fury says Jake is inching closer to his long-term ambitions, calling this fight one of the biggest steps in that journey. He believes Jake will push himself to the limit, even describing the matchup as a 50-50 challenge because Paul has evolved far beyond his YouTube beginnings and now trains with real competitive intent.
And even if you don't actually achieve the biggest target in your life, you might get close to it, so it's definitely worth pursuing. But
Jake Paul continues to train with intensity, insisting that his ultimate goal is to become a world champion. He's treating this camp with discipline, sharpening conditioning, and working relentlessly on every weakness. Jake believes his dedication will pay off, aiming to prove he is far more than a celebrity stepping into the ring.
Like I'm Jake Paul or a famous person. No, like they treat me like I'm trying to become a world champion.
Tyson Fury maintains that Jake Paul has a legitimate chance against Anthony Joshua, pointing to how dramatically Paul has improved. Fury argues that the public should stop underestimating Jake because he has grown into a focused, determined athlete capable of surprising seasoned heavyweights.
Using Jake Paul as a tune-up to fight you. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't know about tune-up. I think Jake Paul knocks him out.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Why so? What impresses you about Jake Paul?
I just think Jake Paul would knock AJ out. I think AJ's a spent force, and I think Jake Paul's on the rise. And I like his new heavyweight look.
Barry Hearn underscores the business side of boxing, emphasizing that Anthony Joshua should seriously consider fighting Jake Paul. Hearn, a veteran promoter, says the financial incentives are massive and impossible to ignore. He acknowledges that some may question the sporting legitimacy of the matchup, but stresses that in boxing, major paydays often shape career decisions. According to Hearn, the projected revenue from a Joshua Paul fight could exceed traditional expectations, making it far more than just a spectacle.
Fight Jake Paul. What's your view on that, Barry?
Money. Don't be silly. You know, I mean, you're mostly sensible, aren't you?
Mostly.
Of course, we're all purists at heart, but purism doesn't necessarily pay the bills, and boxing is a money business. And the day we don't accept that and then move on, we won't understand why certain things happen.
So if that fight's there next week and it's signable and they can do Joshua against Tyson Fury next year, take the Jake.
Sports analyst Simon Jordan discusses the unconventional rise of Jake Paul, noting how unusual it is for a YouTube personality to challenge elite-level fighters. He explains that traditional boxing values gradual progression through amateur ranks and increasingly tougher opponents. Jake's fast-tracked, unorthodox path disrupts this structure, raising questions in the boxing community about competitive integrity, respect for the sport, and whether such a trajectory is sustainable.
Boxing purist, it doesn't sit well, but as a normal working class lad, I've been asked by builders, would you fight Jake Paul for £5 million? I never got £5 million for fighting anyone else in a fight, so it's the silliest question in the world. I've been retired 7 years, I'm still very confident. If you give me 3 weeks to get off the couch, I'll probably still beat him with one hand. It's not, he's not a good fighter, so it's not even being disrespectful to him. As a YouTuber, as a presenter in what he does, he blows me out the water. That's his line of work, but he's stepping into boxing, another profession. Now, to call Alexa Canelo out, I think is disrespectful. To call Anthony Joshua out is lunacy, but we know why it's happening and why he does it.
Forget Jake Paul. Forget Jake
Paul. A lot of tickets.
Paul. I mean, Jake Paul's going to do what Jake Paul does, but Anthony Joshua, and with respect to you and what you did and didn't earn in your career, Anthony Joshua has earned a king's ransom.
Yeah.
So he doesn't need to be fiddle with this, does he?
No, he doesn't, but again, all I keep seeing from people out there is, you know, when is enough, and I get that, but when you're retired at 33, 34, and you've got to make that last now, you've got more experience than me in this team, with a lot of footballers in the past as well, and business people who got to make a certain amount of...
A commentator expresses mixed feelings about Jake Paul. He acknowledges Jake has done positive things, supporting young athletes in Puerto Rico, helping fighters secure better pay, and investing in boxing communities. But he criticizes Jake for making outrageous claims, such as wanting to fight Anthony Joshua and Canelo Alvarez on the same night. He warns Jake that facing Joshua or Canelo is nothing like fighting Tyron Woodley or an aging Mike Tyson. He stresses that Joshua's power is legitimately dangerous, and Canelo's body shots could cause serious damage. His message is clear: keep doing the good things, but stop making unrealistic statements.
I'm so sorry for my English, but I have to. See, Jake Paul does lots of good things. He has a camp for kids where he, I guess, gives training and coaching and gloves and environment for kids in Puerto Rico. He helped lots of boxers to get the bigger purse than they deserve. He has done some good things, and you are kind of trying to be on his side, but then he says something like that. Like, you almost are on his side, and then he says, I want to fight Anthony Joshua and Canelo at the same night or whatever. Jake, fighting Anthony Joshua and Canelo is not fighting Tyron Woodley or 60 years old Mike Tyson with Alzheimer's. Anthony Joshua is able to literally kill you. No doubt. If his mission is to kill you on the ring, he will kill you. You lost against Tommy Fury. Tommy Fury won against you. What Anthony Joshua? What Canelo, my friend? Canelo, you would need the liver replacement after Canelo fight. I promise you. I don't know. So stop doing that shit. Do the good things you are doing, and we will be on your side. Just stop saying.
Analysts compare Jake Paul's potential fight with Anthony Joshua to Paul's exhibition bouts, such as with Gervonta Davis. They highlight that Davis was much smaller, whereas Joshua is a full-sized heavyweight with elite experience. They stress that Joshua would not treat this as a casual exhibition, he would approach it as a real competitive fight. This difference makes the matchup far more serious than Paul's previous celebrity-style events.
Jake Paul putting his health and well-being on the line, because someone asked me on Twitter, Wade, if Jake Paul gets knocked out, will his career be over? Buddy, his life may be over if he gets knocked out by AJ, because that dude put Francis Ngannou flat on his back, and I had never seen Francis Ngannou hurt before. And again, it's boxing, not MMA. Jake has a little more experience, but we're talking about a massive size difference. AJ's still relatively young and still relatively got something left in the tank, and he's only fought the world-class guys for the last 10 years. This would be Jake's not only hardest fight, most dangerous fight of his career. If Jake is doing this, it could signal the last one. I'm not even joking. This could signal Jake being like, I'm having one more of these and I'm out. Because where do you go from Anthony Joshua? We'll get into that part in a second, but the Netflix thing. We know that Anthony Joshua is an exclusive fighter to DAZN. Eddie Hearn has stated that multiple times. AJ, I'm pretty sure, even has a piece of DAZN. I could be wrong about that, but he signed a mega deal years ago with them. So for this fight to take place on Netflix would mean DAZN would say, you can have one of our biggest cash draws, and maybe in a revenue share thing, or maybe Netflix pays them some money, but you can have our biggest cash draw and we don't have an affiliation with it. That seems a bit unrealistic. But having said that, this isn't a report from anybody in the camp. This is not MVP saying it. This is not Eddie Hearn saying it. This is Mike Coppinger, who I guess has talked to people in the camp. But an independent source saying that they are finalizing a deal. Not that they're in talks. They are finalizing a deal. So this is a...
Davies points out the massive physical difference between Joshua and Paul. Joshua stands around 6 feet 7 inches and holds a significant weight advantage over the 6 feet 2 inches Jake Paul. This size disparity directly affects strategy, risk, and fight dynamics. Combined with Joshua's technical skill, this creates a steep challenge for Paul while also making the spectacle even more compelling for audiences.
I'm not sure Anthony Joshua's going to play the game like everyone else, and it could be fairly calamitous, I think, if Joshua stepped into a ring with Jake Paul. But we're going to watch it because we want to see Jake Paul get knocked the F out. We do, everyone wants to see it. I mean, I've even said it to him. I was looking forward to Mike Tyson and knocking him the fuck out. Doesn't surprise me. He's looking for the biggest names out there, and it just shows that he's prepared to put himself on the line to promote himself.
Would it be more competitive than the Ngannou fight, in your opinion, or less?
That's a very good analogy. It's a very good comparison. Much less competitive. I mean, I think it's got to be at that level of exhibition bout. I think it's a very dangerous fight for Jake Paul. Very dangerous. He's probably got one chance to try and counterpunch. And if he catches Joshua, he might do something, but I see that as 100%.
Gareth emphasizes Joshua's extraordinary knockout power, comparing it to the force of a mule kick. This level of power is not just intimidating, it's a decisive tactical factor. Analysts argue that a single mistake from Paul could end the fight instantly. Joshua's punching ability adds a serious athletic dimension to the matchup, balancing out the entertainment and business aspects.
6'7" to Jake Paul 6'2". Probably weighs 30 pounds more than him, if he's 220. And who hits like a blooming mule kicks. So, and you know, yes, Anthony Joshua's had issues against very skilled boxers, and he's been caught by Andy Ruiz and caught by Alexander Usyk twice, and out-hustled and out-boxed, and knocked out by Daniel Dubois. But Jake Paul is not the kind of not the kind of guy who...
Michael Bisping analyzes the risk-reward ratio for Jake Paul. He explains that Paul is in a unique position. If he wins, he becomes a global sensation. If he loses, his reputation still grows because he dared to face an elite heavyweight. Bisping notes that unlike traditional fighters who risk their careers with every loss, Paul's downside is minimal and the upside could be historic. This explains Paul's eagerness to pursue high-profile, high-reward opponents.
On an island by myself, everyone says the same thing, and he would potentially prove all of those critics wrong. Well, yeah, he would, maybe, unless there's some funny business, right? And for Anthony Joshua, as I said, this is kind of a lose-lose, right? Because if he wins, people are still going to say, well, you only beat Jake Paul, right? The man that lost to Tommy Fury, after all, right? That's the only loss in his record, Tommy Fury. You're telling me that Tommy Fury is going to beat him, and then Anthony Joshua's not going to beat him? So if he beats him, he gets no credit. And if he loses, then holy... Can you imagine? That would be the biggest downfall of any boxer's career. The reality is, he's not going to lose. There is no way on this earth that Jake Paul can beat Anthony Joshua in a boxing match. That's just a fact, okay? Look at what he did to Francis Ngannou. Francis Ngannou hits as hard as a Ford Escort, going 100 miles an hour or whatever that stat was. Comes from the UFC. He was the UFC heavyweight champion of the world. Has a good go against Tyson Fury, but goes up against Anthony Joshua and gets flatlined. Every single punch that was thrown was landed, and every punch that landed put Francis Ngannou down, okay? So to stand there and think that Jake Paul, who's much, much smaller, who has way less experience, that doesn't weigh anything near him, is going to have a chance, and not to mention the technical abilities. Let's just talk about that. Not to mention the technical abilities or experience. We're talking about an Olympic gold medalist, remember, from back in the day, who's then...
Critics highlight Jake Paul's loss to Tommy Fury as a major concern. If Paul struggled against Fury, who is far less experienced than Anthony Joshua, then facing Joshua poses significantly greater risks. Analysts say this context tempers expectations and shows that money and fame cannot compensate for gaps in technical skill and elite ring experience. At the same time, experts acknowledge the strategic complexity of facing an unorthodox fighter like Jake. They expect Joshua's team to focus on controlled aggression, smart pacing, and risk management to balance entertainment value with maintaining professional credibility. The fight ultimately represents a hybrid, part sport, part business, part spectacle.
Should wipe the floor with him within the first round, right? And if he doesn't, are we getting mugged as punters?
Well, it's on Netflix, so if you've got a Netflix...
No, but whoever is punters, when I say punters, the watching audience, right, around the world, right?
Yeah.
I don't know, mate.
I think it's dangerous.
Yeah,
I genuinely, I think it's dangerous.
Well, but that's
putting a world heavyweight champion,
and then the cynic,
top 4 or 5 fighters in the world.
Then the cynic in me tells me,
who's never had a proper fight.
Right, the cynic in me straight away goes, I think AJ's probably going to be told, and I don't know this, don't go heavy on him the first.
No, he can't afford to do that. Andy Joshua can't afford to do that.
Okay, well, that's where I'm wrestling with my own mind right now. You asked me the question. How do I feel about it? I don't know what to make of it, mate. I seriously don't know what to make of it. I seriously don't.
It's a joke.
Yeah, I don't know what to make of it.
I'll watch it because...
I don't know whether I will, JJ. Honestly, I probably will close the vote. Right now, I didn't watch that. Who fought Mayweather? Oh, it was. I tell you, it was. Who was the MMA fighter?
Logan Paul. One that you didn't know the name of yet.
Logan Paul, right? I didn't watch that one either, right?
I know, but Jake Paul's got a bit more boxing credential. He has.
What about McGregor? Who did McGregor fight? Did he fight someone? McGregor? Have I made that up?
Yeah, I don't know. Where's your head at?
I don't know, mate. They all
it's all over the gaff. You gave Andy your number and you gave him the talk.
His name's Adam.
Adam, sorry. You gave Adam the number.
No.
You said 03717 22.
I gave him the sports.
You gave him the sports number.
No, but I don't.
Get your head out.
No, I don't know. I don't know whether I will watch it, actually, if you want the honest truth.
Well, we asked for some calls, and people have phoned up. They're interested in it to have their say. Let's go to Paul, who's a Man United fan. All right, Paul?
All right, P-Dog.
Yeah. You all right? How you doing?
I'm all right, Paul. Look, obviously big news. What do you make of this?
Well, I think, so I'm a big boxing fan, I think Jake Paul...
That concludes today's coverage. Stay tuned for more updates.